What will you do as mayor to ensure reliable transportation opportunities for those residents who don't own or cannot drive cars and whose neighborhoods are not currently well served by mass transit?
Well, we did all we could in the first year in office to be able to get the transit bill passed in Harrisburg, and because of that, we've been able to save public transit in the city of Pittsburgh, at least for a few more years. It doesn't seem likely that there will be additional funds coming out of Harrisburg or Washington for public transit, so we have to look at other options. What we want to do is build a multimodal city that's available for all, where we have safe streets that are also accessible streets. We want to make sure that we understand that 17% of white Pittsburghers don't own a car, but 42% of African American Pittsburghers don't own a car. So public transit, biking, and walking need to be all considered as options of getting from one area to another. And we have to make it so that we design our streets in such a way that it is safe for everybody, that we aren't just doing what we did in the 1950s and creating streets that were based solely for cars. And we have to put the money behind it to make sure that that actually happens. The ability to provide adequate public transit is a critical component, but the first mile of getting to that transit and the last mile of getting to that transit has to have many options for people to be able to get to where they need to go.
Thank you, Mr. Peduto. Mrs. Harris.
Yes. If we are going to have different types of transportation, what we need to do first is make sure that it's safe and that public safety can still move around. Also, make sure that there's traffic studies done. And the other thing is to make sure that we're not leaving anyone out, not using a poor neighborhood to get funding and then not having stops or taking the parking away that those neighborhoods have. Again, I think you have to include the entire community when you're dealing with moving transportation through. For our senior citizens, the one thing that has stopped in the last 3 years is taking them out so that they could shop in the vans for the city. And I would make sure that those seniors still get to go out in those vans. They're not able to carry groceries like they were able to do years ago. And that's something that the city needs to start doing again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Harris. Reverend Welch.
Well, I think we need to ask, where do these people need to go? Many of them need to go to work. If you look at the largest employer in the city of Pittsburgh, it's UPMC. A lot of the people who are working in those low-wage jobs have been or will be pushed out of the city, which makes transportation an issue. So one, you need to make sure that we have affordable housing close to where these people need to be, where they need to work. That means we need to build affordable housing in the city. And then we can look at how we can have transportation, affordable transportation to get them to and from. They may be able to walk at that point in time. They may be able to ride a bike at that point in time. They may be able to take a bus. If they're working weekend hours and they live outside of the city, chances are they're not getting a bus. And so we need to stop pushing people out of the city, build homes in the city that they can afford, and put them close to where they need to go, where they need to work, and where they need to shop.